Hi book girlies, welcome back to my channel. I've been seeing this tag going around on BookTube where everyone talks about their least favorite books, and their favorite book couples of 2023. It's a little 2023 end of year book tag and I wanted to participate in it, and it'll probably be the last video that I post on my channel here for 2023. So I just wanted to say a thank you to everyone who supported me this year, and I'm so excited to see what I can bring to my channel next year. With that being said, let's get into the 2023 end of year book tag. The first question in this book tag is most disappointing book that I read this year, and the first one that came to mind was Sanctuary of the Shadow by Aurora Asher. I got an early copy of this. I think it comes out at the beginning of January. It really intrigued me because I thought it was going to kind of be like carnival circus vibes, and for the first 20 pages it was, and then that plot got left behind shortly after. It just wasn't what I was expecting. I didn't expect it to be also like pretty heavy with spice, and it just I feel like there were some plot holes and things just weren't written very well. I don't know, I was just really disappointed with it. Like how I said, it was a lot different than what I thought it was going to be, so it kind of threw me off. People might enjoy this if they're into more heavily romance-based fantasies, but it just wasn't it for me. The second book that disappointed me in 2023 was The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I actually DNF'd this. Yes, it's painful for me to say, but I did love Better Than the Movies, and that's why I was so excited to read this, but it was just very repetitive, which is understandable. It's about a girl who's repeating her Valentine's Day until she gets it right and all these things go wrong. I didn't really connect with the romance that was happening in it. I didn't really like any of the characters. It just felt a little dull to me. It might just not have been what I was interested in at the time. Maybe I just didn't need to read a young adult at the time, but hopefully I'll pick this up and finish it. But I was quite disappointed because I had such high hopes because I absolutely loved Better Than the Movies. The second question is a book that was overhyped, and I don't have my copy with me right now, but I chose The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I could just not get into this one either, kind of like how it was for Sanctuary of the Shadow. I really loved the plot line. I loved how it was kind of like amusement park based, and I really wished that the author had talked about that a lot more in the book and the development behind it and everything. It was very heavily romance plot based, which makes sense, but it just fell a little flat for me. I also didn't really like the characters in it. I don't even remember the guy's name. That's the main character in that book, but I did not enjoy him at all. And I wish that for some of the scenes that were very like sentimental and heartfelt, it would have just stayed like that and not progressed into like a spicy scene. I don't mind those in other books if it's written well and it flows well, but there would be just like a really heartfelt moment and then it would just turn into a spice scene, and it happened every single time. So I just couldn't get behind that. I do really want to read The Final Offer. I have not read Terms and Conditions yet because I just did not enjoy The Fine Print, but hopefully I'll get to those two in 2024 and my opinion will change and I will start to love the series. The next question is my favorite book couples, and of course one of them that I'm going to choose is Feyre and Rhysand from the ACOTAR world. Those characters are literally my Roman Empire. I think about them every single day. I just love them. I don't even have words to describe how much I love these books, how much I love this world, all the characters, the romance. It is literally the best fantasy romantasy book that I've ever read, and I will stand by that. I just love this book couple so much, and that's all I have to say. The other couple that I want to mention is Helene and Sebastian from The 100 Loves of Juliet. This was my favorite book of 2023. I've talked about this book so many times on this channel and even more on my TikTok, but I absolutely love this couple. It's Romeo and Juliet retelling. The moral of the story is that love lasts longer than a lifetime, and I absolutely love that, being a hopeless romantic myself. So this really just spoke to my soul. I wish I could read about them again for the first time. Next question is a book that surprised me, and I chose Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason for this. This was one of the first literary fictions that I had read this year. This is the first year that I've ever gotten into literary fiction, and I absolutely love it. Every single time I finish a literary fiction book, I feel so smart and educated and accomplished. It's kind of making me steer away from the like less plot heavy or like romance dense books. I've just really been in a literary fiction kick lately. They feel so much more meaningful to me. I feel like there's so many good things to read about in here and learn about when you're in your 20s, and I've just learned so much more from these books, and specifically this one and a few more that I'm about to talk about. But this book just means so much to me. I really resonated with the main character, and I loved every single side character that was a part of this story. It is a book that I think about all the time, and like how it was with The 100 Loves of Juliet, I wish I could reread this again for the first time because it was just so good. A new favorite author that I discovered is Hilary Leacher. She has 2 books out. She has Terra Story and Temporary. I read Terra Story first. I also got an advanced copy of this back in June, I believe, to review. It was my first literary fiction book I've ever read, and it was my first experience reading that kind of writing, and I was really thrown for a loop. I did not know what I was reading half the time. It also has some magical realism in this as well. It's 4 short stories that intertwine together, and I didn't know what to rate it once I was done with it. I sat on it for a few days, but then each day that went on and on, I just started to think about it more and love it more and more, and so I ended up giving it a 5 stars. And then a few months later, I found Temporary, had no idea it was the same author. I got like 10% into the book, and I was like, this writing is so familiar to me. And then I figured out that it was the same author, and I loved this one even more. It's about a girl who does very temporary jobs in life, like subbing in for someone who's seasick and being a barnacle on a rock in the middle of the ocean and working for a hitman. It's very bizarre jobs. The writing's very bizarre, but the underlying meaning in it is really heartfelt and really endearing, and it's just about a girl who has been a temporary her whole life and wants to be a permanent in someone else's. It really struck with my little heartstrings, and I just absolutely loved everything that this author has written, and I hope that she comes out with something next year or the year after because I love these books so much. The next question is the most frustrating book that I read this year, and I chose Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors. I read this in a reading blog that was the last video that I posted, and it's not that I didn't like this. I ended up giving it 4.25 stars, I believe. I really enjoyed it. It was just frustrating in the sense that there wasn't much character growth between any of the characters that are involved in this story. The main plot line is you follow Cleo and Frank, who fall into a very impulsive marriage, but you also get chapters with Frank's sister or Cleo's best friend or a guy that Cleo has been with before, and everyone just has trauma in their life or something that they're dealing with. There's an alcohol issue, there's a drug abuse issue, there is like gender identity things that go on in this book and transphobia, and they're all amazing things to touch on. I just wish for at least like the child wounds that some of them have in them. I wish there was some healing that went on, and the whole time I was just like, can y'all just please go to therapy, and like this will fix your marriage, this will fix your life, or it'll at least help you get on the right track to improve it. There wasn't much character development in this story, and I wish I had seen that, and I wanted it so bad. The ending is sufficient and somber, and it does wrap up in a good way. There is some development at the end, but I just wish I had seen more, and I would have enjoyed it a lot more, I think. The next question is the longest and the shortest book that I read. The longest book was A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas, and the shortest book was Temporary by Hilary Leacher. Loved both of these books. I definitely don't have a preference when it comes to reading short versus long, as long as it's an enjoyable story. I really don't care how long or short it is, and these are definitely very meaningful books to me. The next question is books that I can't stop thinking about. I did want to mention Sorrow and Bliss and Temporary. Those books run through my head every single day, but I wanted to talk about a book I had just recently read called The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich. I am reading this for a reading blog that will be coming out very soon, but this book was one that I had not heard about before. I had no idea what it was about. The cover intrigued me, and I looked it up on Goodreads, just read a little bit about it, picked it up, and then started reading it, and it is so good. I don't want to go into too much detail about my thoughts because I want to save that for the video that I will be posting after this one, but It's a very unique story. It's a story about everyone in the world receives a box one night, and inside the box it contains a string that measures out to be how long you will live for, and then from that day on everyone that turns 22 receives it. It follows 8 different characters who all receive a string. Some are in relationships, some aren't. Some people that get short strings end up losing their relationship. Some people that have long strings trying to help their partners that have short strings. It goes over so much. There's also like a political little aspect in it as well that I really enjoyed. It's just such a great story. I wish this would be turned into a movie or TV show. It has a wonderful plot line that I think would be projected really well in film, but definitely look into this if you kind of want like a dystopian modern day world book. It really makes you think about the world we live in now and how we treat people and how we take our lives for granted, and it's just so good. The last question is the happiest books that I read this year, and I wanted to talk about Fake Dates and Mooncakes by Shirley and Bellegarde by Jamie Lilac. These are 2 YA romance books that I really enjoyed. They did have obviously some deeper meanings and character development behind it that aren't the happiest thing, but it did bring a lot of joy and warmth to my heart. This one has a really cute love story between a guy who works in a bakery and this other wealthy guy that is his age, and he ends up donating a good sum of money to his bakery in order to keep him and his family's bakery open, and in return he has to go and fake date this guy to a wedding, and of course a little romance happened, and it was just so cute. I absolutely loved this one, and the cover is so cute too. The next book is Bellegarde by Jamie Lilac. The main character's family also owns a bakery. It is set in Paris, which I absolutely loved reading about. I love books set in London or Paris in New York. It's my favorite setting for a book. And she goes to a very prestigious high school. Her parents are more lower to middle class grade. A lot of people don't really give her much attention. They kind of judge her from not really coming from anything as extravagant as everyone else does at this school. And the Prince Beau starts to give her some attention, and she's very confused as to why he is suddenly starting to want to talk to her. And she starts to get very confused why he is suddenly giving her all this attention. There's actually a bet going on behind her back to see if he can get her to be the Bellegarde Bloom of the Court of Flowers, which is their annual ball that is hosted at their school. And so there's some rivalry going on, but it turns into a really cute love story, and these 2 books just brought a lot of happiness to my heart. I really enjoyed them, and they're super easy to fly through. They're really short, so if you're looking for a cute little YA romance, I would definitely recommend picking these up. That is all the answers I have for the questions for the 2023 book tag. I had such an amazing reading year this year. I hope you guys did as well. Like how I said at the beginning, I'm so excited to see what I can bring to this channel in 2024. I've had such a fun time filming. If you guys want to connect with me more, I have a TikTok page and also an Instagram that I just started up to talk about books as well. If you want to see any more videos from me, you can subscribe to my channel and also like and comment on my video. I'm always open to suggestions on videos that you guys want to see from me. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in 2024. Bye!